For 19 years, through plague, war, and personal tragedy, Marcus Aurelius started every single morning the exact same way. Not with meditation apps or cold plunges, not with affirmations in front of a mirror, with something far more powerful and completely free. A private conversation with himself about who he intended to be before the day had a chance to decide for him. Here is one of the most humanizing moments in all of ancient philosophy. In Book 5 of the Meditations, Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, the commander of legions, the most powerful man on earth, writes about not wanting to get out of bed. He writes, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do? Or is this what I was created for, to huddle under the blankets and stay warm?" Then he argues with himself. Part of him says, "But it's so comfortable here." And the philosopher in him responds, "So you were born to feel nice, to feel comfortable. Were you not born to do things, to act, to contribute?" This matters because it destroys a myth. The myth that disciplined people feel motivated all the time. They don't. Marcus didn't leap out of bed with enthusiasm. He dragged himself out by reminding himself why he existed, every single morning, for 19 years. Motivation wasn't the starting point. The argument with himself was the starting point. And he won that argument every day because he'd prepared the answer before the question arrived. If the Emperor of Rome had to talk himself into getting up, you don't need to feel guilty about struggling with it. The difference is that Marcus had a system for winning the fight. And that system is what we're going to build. Once Marcus was up, his practice began in earnest. In Book 2, he describes the first mental exercise of his day. He would sit with his journal and deliberately anticipate the worst people he would encounter. He writes, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." This is premeditatio malorum applied to human interaction. He wasn't listing his enemies. He was listing the full range of human behavior so that none of it would catch him off guard. Think about how most people start their mornings. They check their phone. They absorb the news. They scroll through other people's curated highlights. And then they walk into a day they haven't prepared for, emotionally naked, surprised by the first difficulty that arrives. Marcus did the opposite. He armored his mind before he left the room, not with aggression, not with cynicism, with realism. He continued the passage by reminding himself that these difficult people act this way out of ignorance, not malice. They don't know what is good and what is evil. And because Marcus shared a common human nature with them, he could not be angry at them or hate them. They were, in his words, born to work together like feet, like hands, like eyelids. The preparation wasn't about expecting the worst from people. It was about deciding in advance to respond with patience instead of rage, with understanding instead of contempt. After preparing for difficulty, Marcus moved to the second part of his morning practice. He reconnected with his purpose, not his goals, not his to-do list, his purpose. There's a difference, and Marcus understood it deeply. Goals are things you chase. Purpose is the reason you chase anything at all, and Marcus's purpose was service. He believed that human beings exist to contribute to each other, to work for something larger than their own comfort. In Book 6, he writes, "What injures the hive injures the bee." You are not separate from the people around you. Your well-being and theirs are connected. Every morning, Marcus reminded himself of this, not because he naturally felt charitable, but because the day ahead was going to tempt him towards selfishness, anger, and withdrawal. The purpose reminder was his defense against losing himself in the noise. This is what most modern morning routines miss entirely. They're optimized for personal performance, how to be more productive, how to get more energy, how to win the day. Marcus's morning wasn't about winning. It was about showing up as the right person. Performance was secondary to character. Output was secondary to integrity. And that priority, set at dawn, shaped everything that followed. If your morning starts with what you need to do, try starting it instead with who you need to be. The tasks will still get done, but you'll do them as a different person. The third element of Marcus's morning was the quietest and in some ways the most powerful. He practiced gratitude, but not the kind you've seen on Instagram. In Book 1 of the Meditations, Marcus lists the people who shaped him. His grandfather who taught him patience. His mother who taught him generosity and simplicity. His teachers who taught him philosophy and self-discipline. He goes through them one by one, name by name, lesson by lesson. And this list isn't a single entry, it's the entire first book of the Meditations. He spent more time on gratitude than on any other subject, but notice what he's grateful for. Not wealth, not power, not victories. He's grateful for the character traits he received from others. The patience, the honesty, the work ethic, the kindness. He's thanking the people who made him who he is, not the circumstances that gave him what he has. This kind of gratitude does something different than making a list of good things in your life. It connects you to other people. It reminds you that everything you are was shaped by someone else's effort and care. And that recognition, practiced each morning, makes it very hard to walk into the day with arrogance. How can you be arrogant when the first thing you did today was acknowledge everyone who made you possible? So what does this look like for you practically starting tomorrow? Here's a 10-minute Stoic morning built directly from what Marcus practiced. No equipment needed. No app required. Just a pen, a piece of paper, and 5 minutes before you touch your phone. Minutes 1 and 2, the reluctant riser. When the alarm goes off and you want to stay in bed, have one sentence ready, not a motivational quote, a personal reason. Why are you getting up today? Minutes 3 and 4, the preparation. Write down who or what might frustrate you today, the difficult coworker, the email you're dreading. Then write one sentence for each. When this happens, I will respond by doing this. Decide your response now while you're calm. Minutes 5 through 7, the purpose check. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? Not what do I want to accomplish, who do I want to be? Pick one word and carry it with you. Minutes 8 through 10. Gratitude. Write down one person who helped shape who you are and what they gave you, not what you have. Who you are, that's it. 10 minutes, no technology. Just a conversation between you and your own conscience. The same conversation Marcus had every morning for 19 years. Here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, before you check a single notification, sit down with a piece of paper and spend 5 minutes writing 3 things. What might go wrong today? Who might frustrate me today? And how I choose to respond when they do. That's the core of Marcus's practice, condensed into 5 minutes. Do it for one morning and you'll notice a difference. The first difficult moment of the day will land differently because you saw it coming. You prepared your response in advance. And that preparation, that simple act of deciding who you'll be before the world tries to decide for you, is the most powerful thing you can do before breakfast. Marcus Aurelius didn't have a morning routine because it was trendy. He had one because he was fighting a war, losing friends to plague, and governing an empire that was falling apart. And the only thing between him and collapse was a conversation he had with himself every morning before dawn. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. If this changed how you think about how you start your day, subscribe for more ancient wisdom that still works today. Drop a comment telling me what your one-word purpose for tomorrow is. I read every single one.